Producing fossil fuels keeps people's houses warm in the winter. That saves people's lives. People die in the cold.
Right.
This earth warming and carbon is actually healthy for us.
That was a little bit of a throwback to Marjorie Greene. I know that she's attempting to rebrand herself as a serious person, but I just want everyone to remember that not so long ago, she went on a radio show with her little boo there to talk about how, no, actually this whole earth warming thing, I get what you mean, is actually a good thing. Because people die because of the cold. Which is true. We are aware that in winter storms, people die. We know that Texas exists and that happens needlessly every year there because they don't care to do anything about it. But I'm gonna blow your mind, Congresswoman, and anyone else who bought that line from her there. Do you know that people die in the heat as well? Yeah, no, researchers have looked into it. Turns out some actually do. Turns out that the earth warming could be bad in a lot of different ways. So the Lancet has looked into deaths caused by the heating that we've already experienced. And so they estimate that each year between 2012 and 2021, 546,000 people on average have died because of exposure to heat. That is a massive increase on the figures from the 1990s. So yeah, maybe factor that into your next appearance on the radio or whatever. 500,000 people dying from the heat every year. Toxic fumes from wildfires killed a record 154,000 people last year. Fossil fuel related air pollution caused more than 2.5 million deaths in 2022 alone. And so all of that is caused not only by the way that we generate our power, but the climate change that is a result of the way that we generate our power. And again, you could avoid all of that by using renewable energy. And here's the wild thing, that renewable energy can also be used to heat people's homes in the winter. So don't worry about the winter, we've got that on lockdown too. And so, look, Sharon, none of this should be all that mind-blowing. We know that pollution kills people. We know that wildfires kill people and that the heat kills people. But we have Congress people who don't seem to get it, or at least pretend to not get it, so that the fossil fuel industry continues to be able to do what they do to generate profits. What do you think?
Just turn a blind eye and who cares? Just use all this hairspray and deodorant you want. Spray deodorant for everyone. This is again why we should be specific. And if we can't target all of these liars at once, then I think we have to just do a lottery system, where the balls jump up and you reach in, they grab a ball and it's on the news at 11:30. Okay, whoever wins the contract. And this is who we will all collectively target and get them out of there. And then we'll pull another ball and with a name on it. And that's the person we go after next. Whatever it is, we cannot continue. You're not going to keep playing in my face and lying to me. And that's just what's going on, to our detriment, to our bodies, a detriment. It's just sicko behavior.
Yeah. And by the way, one of the reasons we decided to do that intro with Marjorie Greene is I want to be practical and I also want to be productive. I am providing an opportunity to Congresswoman Greene right here.
Yeah.
She now wants to be seen as reasonable on the topic of Gaza and has said some good things. She wants to seem reasonable on the topic of healthcare and has almost kind of said some good things, but also wants to destroy the ACA. So that one's a little bit muddled. Climate change. I haven't seen her change her stance at all on climate change. Have you talked to a scientist? Do you get 99% of the studies of this indicating climate change that's already been experienced around the world for literally decades? Have you want to update to be a little bit more reasonable and less dogmatic and partisan on that? And I'm being kind of a D right now. I get that, mostly because I don't believe she will, but I would love to be surprised. And so feel free to put out a tweet. It can even be a super long one if it needs to be, where you say, you know what? I was a little bit dismissive of concerns about climate change, but I've now seen how things have been getting hotter. I've seen the death toll. I've seen how these storms have been getting more extreme, and I worry about the effect it'll have on everyday Americans. I would love to read that tweet, Congresswoman. But for now, I can say that some of those who previously had been kind of good on this topic are moving in the wrong direction, including Bill Gates. He was once a vocal clean energy advocate. He put out this memo saying that there's too much of a doomsday outlook on climate change and claimed it would, quote, not lead to humanity's demise, which is not what people have claimed. They haven't claimed there'd be no more humans, you dingus. They've said it would be really bad for the humans that are here. Anyway, he said the idea that climate change is the greatest threat to life on Earth is wrong. Well, what individually is worse to human life than nuclear war, I suppose? Look, I'm not, again, you can be very concerned about climate change without being some sort of caricature that he will conjure up to justify him backing off from supporting clean energy. And we'll return to why he's doing that. He has a profit motive, by the way. He said, although climate change will have serious consequences, particularly for people in the poorest countries, it will not lead to humanity's demise. Oh, well then I don't care about those people in the poorest countries. I mean, if rich people will exist in the future, what's the difference? People will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future. Emissions projections have gone down, and with the right policies and investments, innovation will allow us to drive emissions down much further. But again, do you think, Bill, that perhaps one of the reasons emissions projections have gone down is that people have fought for decades to advance the cause of clean energy, moving away from some of the dirtier energy? Do you think that perhaps now is not the right time to back off and be like, stop being so worried about it? They're going down, the projections. They're not going net negative. We're not moving in the right direction. We're just moving a little bit less quickly in the wrong one with less time to change course. And so I referenced his profit motive. There is one. So he has TerraPower. It's a nuclear reactor company that promotes small modular reactors as a cheaper, cleaner version of large nuclear power plants, which some scientists are critical of this, saying that these reactors are unreliable, still come with serious safety risks, and still produce significant radioactive waste. Now, look, I am not an absolutist when it comes to nuclear power or whatever. I think that theoretically it could be a part of this. But I'm saying that as a person that doesn't own a company that makes these reactors, he's a little bit more biased when it comes to that. Sharon, what do you make of it?
Look, Melinda Gates questioned Bill's integrity and said that's one of the reasons she divorced him. She's not trustworthy. He's friends with Epstein, even though she said this guy creeps me out. Prior affair. Make what you want. That's a personal relationship. But here he is. He's saying nonsense that he knows isn't true. Maybe he wants to be at the next dinner party instead of the one that was, in September, where he sat next to First Lady Melania Trump and Zuckerberg got seated right next to Trump. Maybe he wants to be in that seat next time. Maybe that's it. It's about profit over people. You do his whole life work, or a good chunk of it, was about what you laid out. And now all of a sudden, look, it's gonna be fine. You'll be fine, and maybe your grandkid will get through half its life. So nothing to see here.
Exactly. After reading this, I've come to the conclusion, I think he did put microchips in the vaccine, and I think he did do 5G to take over our minds. I think people were onto something with him.